Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Taylor. I'm an American exchange student who has now spent 2 semesters abroad in Spain. And in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down everything you could ever possibly want to know about host families. Now, I have had a lot of experiences with host families, both in Spain and here in the US, both good and not so good. So today I'm going to be telling you everything that I learned. I really feel like this is the first time that I'm talking about my host family experiences, super unfiltered and just really honest, because I want to help you all make the best and make the most of your time with a host family. If you're considering it, if you're already enrolled in a program doing it and have some questions or just want to learn a little bit more, then this is the video for you. So make sure you're subscribed, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy it, and let's dive right in. First and foremost, let's talk about my experiences. So back in 7th or 8th grade, I think it was, my family and I actually hosted an exchange student for 2 weeks, and we really did not have a good experience with her. We felt like she just didn't want to be there. She didn't really want to, she had no interest in talking with us or learning about our language or our culture, our country, our town, anything like that. And it really felt like she was just kind of forced to be there by her parents. I don't know, it was a really weird vibe. Luckily, we had a much better experience hosting an exchange student when I was in my senior year of high school. For about 2.5 months, we hosted an exchange student from Spain, actually, which was so cool because he lives in Malaga. And then when I studied abroad twice in Spain, I was super close by his city and got to visit him a lot, and that was just amazing. So we had the best time with him, and I genuinely feel like just everything that we did and the friendship that, we built and the connection that my family had with him is something that we will cherish for a lifetime. And I honestly feel like in a lot of ways, I enjoyed it just as much, in some ways, even a little bit more than actually being the exchange student in Spain myself. It was some of the most fun times of my life. But now my times as the exchange student living with a host family, when I was in my freshman year, spring semester, I studied abroad in Granada, Spain. I had an incredible host family. I lived with a roommate from UNC, so we shared a room. But then we also had our host family. So we had our host mom and then our host sister. Our host sister she turned 22 while we were there, and I turned 19 while we were there. So she was about our age, and we really just had a great time with her. And we also loved our host mom. They were the sweetest people ever. I am still in touch with them today. I text them all the time. Secondly, in my second host family experience as the exchange student, I studied abroad in Sevilla for a spring semester, my sophomore year. Same kind of concept. I lived with a roommate from UNC. This time though, we didn't have the best experience with our host family. I didn't really feel like that family was super welcoming, and I don't know. I guess just to be honest, I realized that I never really felt truly comfortable, truly settled in, truly at home in their house, and I just felt like we didn't really connect super well. And I realized kind of throughout the semester that was taking more of a mental toll on me. And it just overall didn't feel like I was super integrated into the family, which I don't want to say anything bad about the family. They're nice people. We just didn't really click. And to be honest, I don't know if they're really, meant to be the best host family, or maybe it's not, the best time for them to have exchange students. But long story short, I also had a roommate from UNC, like I mentioned. We shared a room, and then in the house, it was a family of 5. So the 2 parents and then 3 children, all about our age. We had a host sister that was 23, host brother 21, and then another host sister, I want to say she was 15, maybe she was 14 or 15. And then our host dog, Pinto. Now, if you haven't heard about the host family experience as in-depth as I'm about to share, then I want to give you a super quick overview of exactly what it is and what a host family does. So what is it? It is living in a local household while doing something in a country for a designated amount of time, whether that's study abroad, volunteering, language learning, which I guess is kind of studying abroad, just being an exchange student, working, volunteering. Now, what they provide is going to depend exactly on the program, but at least for any university students, they provide laundry, cleaning, and meals. I would say this is pretty typical. I've heard about this for a lot of other programs, but the exact schedule, exact requirements, and everything are going to, depend exactly where you are, the host family, the program. Some programs are going to be more have a little bit more of a rigid, kind of structure to them. Another big question I get asked a lot of the times around meals is if you want to get a snack, is that included? Can you go grab something from the kitchen? And the answer is it depends on every host family. What I have done both semesters I've been abroad is I'll usually like get a few snacks at the grocery store, super, super cheap, just like little crackers or something like that, and then just have them in my room so I can have them. But also, and you'll obviously get a feel for the host family after you've been there for a little bit. But also a lot of the times you can like ask and they'll usually say like, oh, anything in like this cabinet is like free. Like those are just like snacks or little muffins or crackers or fruit or whatever. And you can just grab that at whatever time. But then some host families will also be a little more strict. Like if you want snacks, if you want anything in between meals, you have to go out and get that on your own. So why do I recommend a host family? Because I truly think that living with a host family is one of the best things you can do when you're looking to go abroad. Number one, language learning. That's an obvious one. Number two is cultural immersion, another obvious one. But there are so many random cultural things that you would have never picked up on had you not lived in a household of that place with people that actually live there, have an established routine there. And even if you like live in like a dorm and you're like, oh, I'm there for like a longer period of time, there's so many little things about the lives of the people living there that you would just never pick up on until you're actually in the house. Also, another thing with language learning, I have had so many friends who have studied abroad and lived in dorms and have all said that they felt like, yes, their language skills got better, but they felt like it was really just like their listening from being in classes. And they felt like they still really struggled to, or not even struggle to speak, but comparing the speaking skills of my friends and I who have lived with host families in comparison to my friends who lived in like apartments or dorms with other exchange students, it was totally different. Another great thing about living with a host family is you are meeting locals. So not only are you getting to know the place better, but you're also already going into, you know, a little bit of a support system in some ways that's really there for you. People who are there to support you, who want to have you there, who want to host you there, and who want to make sure that you have a good time. So it can be really important to have, you know, that not only that support system there, like who they are, but also it really takes a lot of the edge off of being in a new place. If you need something, they know how to go to the doctor. Like for example, when I was in Granada, I needed a haircut and my host mom was like, oh yeah, like I go to this guy out just down the street. Like nobody really knows about him, but he gives you the best rates. He's the coolest guy. So little things like that, it really, really helps, especially if you have a lot of nerves going into the experience, because there are so many things that you feel like you have to figure out on your own. But when you have the host family that's like, oh yeah, this is just like everyday stuff for us. Another thing I do want to throw in here is to remember that this is not just a transactional experience. I know the past few minutes I've been talking a lot about what host families do for you and why I recommend it for your own personal benefit, but remember that it is like an exchange. You're not staying in a hotel, you're not staying in a dorm. This is a real family, real people with real lives that are looking to connect with you. So it is a back and forth, it is a give and take. You are living with a family, so you need to be ready to be a family member. That means helping out around the house when you can, you know, being open to like just a conversation, just talking with them. It's not a hotel, it's not a dorm. They are not just there to serve you. It is give and take, it is back and forth, and it is a relationship. Now, the real big question here that I'm sure you're all wondering is, do host families get paid? Now, of course, like I said a million times, it depends on the program, but for the vast majority of programs, yes, host families get paid. Now, again, depending on the program, sometimes it's more of like a stipend, you know, to help them with food or rent or bills, anything like that. But sometimes it is a bit more of like actually kind of a job for them. And then it also like, depends on the region, the cost of living, anything like that. It also is going to depend, you know, if you're in programs like me where you have a roommate, sometimes that can change things. But in general, yes, host families do get paid in most of the programs that I've seen. There are also programs like volunteering, like the au pairs, the work away and woofing. Then sometimes the host families don't get paid, but in exchange, you are doing like work for them, watching their kids, working on the farm, whatever it may be. I forget exactly which program's which, but a lot of the times there is some form of compensation for the host families. Although, like I said a million times, not all the time, depends on the program. Now, if you do have any problems with your host family, which obviously it is a family relationship, it's inevitable that there's gonna be, you know, a misunderstanding here and there or a little bit of a disagreement, and that's okay, you're gonna work it out. But the vast majority of times, that's going to be over a cultural adjustment or difference in communication norms or communication styles. So let's talk about that. Now, first things first, before you even get to this new country, this new place, make sure you Google just a super simple Google search. It literally has to take you like 2 minutes and just learn about the very basic like cultural norms that are going to be different. I promise you there are plenty of blog posts, YouTube videos, Instagram reels, TikToks, whatever about like cultural things that shocked me for me, for example, as an American going to Spain, or whatever nationality going wherever. So there are plenty of just little things like that. Like for Spain, a big one is like the meal times are going to be different. But also like another norm with communication is that the Spaniards tend to be a lot more direct than us Americans. Another thing that I think is really important to remember, especially when you first get there, is that it is better to ask more questions than not enough. Never feel like you're overwhelming the family with so many questions about what's going on, what to expect, especially the first few days or few weeks. You want to make sure that you are adapting to their house, not forcing their house to adapt to you. Another thing that is absolutely essential to remember is that it is always better to be more straightforward with your needs, especially in the beginning. So this can include things like if you have certain dietary restrictions, that is super important to be very upfront about, or even just like general allergies. But also like things that aren't as concrete, like something you're comfortable with versus uncomfortable with. If you have any like sensitivities, they want to make you feel comfortable. They want to make you feel welcome there and make you feel like you're a part of the family. So if you are more upfront and say, hey, like, I'm really excited about this and want to do this, but this is one thing that, you know, really bothers me, or maybe I'm not the most comfortable with it. Be more upfront than not upfront enough. Hazel's trying to escape now. If you're still struggling with cultural adjustments, something I really recommend doing is getting used to the family's routines. For example, do they shower in the morning versus at night? Do they, you know, even very small routines, like do they take their shoes off when they enter the house, or do they leave them on? What time is like quiet night before bedtime? Is there a good time that they like usually sit and catch up, all chat in the living room? Anything like that. Are there household chores that like maybe they all go, you know, hang up the laundry every Tuesday, something like that. Paying attention to their routines, I feel like really helps integrate you into the family. And I know it can be hard to like actually pay attention and like pick up on those sometimes, but if you are struggling with that cultural adjustment even after a couple of weeks, I really recommend paying attention to the routines. What do you see your host family doing over and over and over again, even if you think it's something super small? Another important thing to remember, especially in the beginning, is to always let your host family know when you're going to be traveling, and particularly when you're going to be gone for meal times. Now, you'll obviously feel it out after the first few weeks, kind of what is the time frame that your host family is expecting to know whether or not you're gonna be gone for a weekend or a day or whatever. The first few weeks, again, better to err on the side of caution and just let them know as soon as you can. And last but not least, let's talk about some of my personal best tips for making the most of the experience. Firstly, reach out to them. Have some more than surface level conversations and ask them questions about their life, but also find out what they like to do. And maybe if there's something you guys have in common that you want to do, reach out and say, hey, we should totally go do this together. Even little things like learning their birthdays, or seeing if you can help with chores, seeing if they want to play a game. Just continually reach out to them to show that you want to be a part of the family. And when you make that effort on your end, I can assure you that they will 9 times out of 10 make that effort back to you and really help you be a part of the family, but also help you foster a much closer and deeper and meaningful connection with them. Something else awesome to do, if you can, is to develop some sort of tradition with your host family. So whether that's like board game night, or, you know, some sort of like routine that you've picked up on theirs that they always do. Maybe if you like to watch like a sport on TV, you can do that with them, or if you have like another, you know, mutual common interest. This is such a silly example, but like for me in Granada, my host mom had a collection of magnets. And so about halfway through the semester, my roommate and I started collecting her magnets everywhere we would go, and just kind of adding on to her collection as the semester went on. Anyways, that's just like a fun little tradition that I like to do. And I think of her every time I travel, and every time I go somewhere new, I'm always like texting her like, oh, do you have a magnet from like so-and-so city? Another great piece of advice is to hang out in the common areas as much as possible and try to avoid spending time alone in your room. Even if you do have to be in your room, if you can like keep the door open if you need to, just kind of like foster that sense of like open communication, but also like do your homework in the living room or at the kitchen table or wherever your family hangs out. You know, really show that you're a part of the family and aren't just like living in a room in a corner of their house. Another fun thing is to bring a small gift for them when you arrive. Now, I feel like this can be so hard to think of things to get for gifts for people, so I've been brainstorming on this for a hot minute, and I have a little list for you guys, so I'm gonna read it out. First of all, fun souvenirs or cultural products from your city or country. That one's pretty basic. This can be things like magnets, keychains, mugs, or something, you know, that's like unique or different, or that your city or country is known for producing. You could also do like school merchandise for university students. I think this is really fun. Candies or other food products. If you're coming from the US, peanut butter is a big thing that they don't have, especially in like European, not don't have, but just not common in European countries. But also things like ranch, or I guess with, I guess because you can't take ranch through TSA anymore, you could bring like the ranch like dry mix. I don't know, maybe that's fun. Or like macaroni and cheese, I love that. Other just fun ideas, board games. If they have any pets, get them like toys. Any like sports team related merch if you're big into sports or have a big, you know, sports team where you live. Recipe cards from your home country or home cuisine, or maybe like a cookbook. If you make anything artsy, you can definitely make them, whether that's like painting or something like crochet, jewelry making, anything like that. That's super fun. And then of course, whatever you get them, be sure to write a card with it. And last but not least, do not forget to be patient with yourself, because I promise you, adjusting to a new family, a new culture, a new home, a new routine is going to take longer than you think, especially if you're going somewhere to learn the language and you're going to be speaking in not your native language. It is going to take time to adjust. And even after going to Granada, I like kind of went into Sevilla and I was like, yes, like I can adjust, like I know how to do this, like it's gonna be like 2 seconds and I'm gonna be like ready to go, I'm gonna know everything. But like that was not the case. And if anything, it actually took me more time to adjust in Sevilla. Although with everything in my host family, I don't know if I ever was fully adjusted, but adjusted as best as I could. It definitely took longer. It's a big change, especially you're doing all of this like on the other side of the world, a lot of times like away from, you know, like your current family and friends and any sort of support system. So just be gentle with yourself, take your time, and don't put on the pressure to be like, oh, you have to be like settled in and fully ready to just like embrace everything, you know, day one, because it's gonna take a lot longer than you're thinking to fully adapt. So be patient. And there you go. Those are all of my best tips, tricks, pieces of advice, words of wisdom about living with a host family. Obviously, if you've made it this far in the video, I'm sure you're probably considering living with a host family or are about to do so soon, and I'm so excited for you. It is going to be the best time of your life, trust me. But that being said, I have learned a lot from my own personal experiences, especially in Sevilla, just not feeling super welcomed in the home, that the connection that you have with your host family can a lot of the times, I don't want to say make or break your experience, but it can really contribute or really take away from your experience and the time that you have abroad. So I think it's so important to, you know, have that good connection, that good relationship with your host family, because at the end of the day, you guys are family. So learn their routines, learn about them as people, learn about their country and their culture, and I promise you, you're going to have the best time ever. So thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. It really helps me out, and definitely subscribe to my channel down below. I've got new videos coming every Monday, and trust me, there are some really exciting ones coming, and I cannot wait to share them all with you. Thank you so much again for watching. I hope you have an incredible day, and I will see you all next week. Adios.